Ladies and gentlemen, the Tarkov situation continues to stay interesting, is maybe a nice way of saying it. The less nice way of saying it is this is turning into a masterclass of being tone deaf, is the best way that I could describe this. Welcome to Average Gamer, guys. I'm Doc. We played a lot of Tarkov. Did a video about a day or so ago, 2 days ago, April 25th, when this first thing got going, and it has continued to evolve and really actually continued to devolve over the last couple of days. Let's catch you up here and a few additional thoughts on this whole situation with BSG, Escape from Tarkov, is going. So here's where it all started. The Unheard Edition, April 25th, new patch, which again, I do think is a W. Patch notes, some of the things implemented. I will continue to say that quite a few folks in the community have shared as well. This whole wipe, I should start here. This whole wipe has been, for the most part, very, very well received, which I think is in large part why the community reaction to this is so strong, right? We're not coming off of a wipe that was disappointing or didn't have a lot of content or didn't really fix a lot in the game or add anything. We are coming off of one of the most well-received wipes for this game in a very, very long time. And many, many folks, big creators, other people, casual players, really, really feel like this wipe was a step forward and a game actually going to 1.0. Prior to this, it would have been something that most people probably wouldn't have believed if they've played the game for a while. If you're new into the game, you know, you're still in the honeymoon phase of it, but a lot of folks that have put in a lot of hours, that have been EOD account owners or just played the game for years, have seen the cycle of things changing but not really progressing forward. This most recent wipe and a lot of the patches along the way have added new things, great features, fixed some of the major complaints. There's still a lot there, but we're really moving forward in the game being, I'm not even going to say fun, but the game being an enjoyable experience. Because they fixed some of the mechanics, they toned some things down, recoil, and they've adjusted a few things, mantling, and like they've brought some things into the game that really make it feel more fluid, and it's more enjoyable to play. You then take all of this and you throw it on top of that, which is just, again, just the community sense is a feeling of slap in the face, right? EOD account owners for sure, but I've seen comments, Reddit posts, so much feedback from just the player base as a whole, people that don't even have it. Folks, a couple of you commented on the previous video about not even having EOD and like almost being glad, but then I've even seen other comments that are like, what about those folks that were in between that maybe weren't able to pick up EOD because they're getting to the game late, which is what it is. That's kind of, you know, sucks in terms of timing. It just feels like, again, my stance on this is they could have released this edition. They could have also brought in parts of it and parsed it out like they have already done. That's the part I don't understand. If they didn't want to give this stuff as DLC and they didn't want to give it to EOD account owners, why not part out pieces of it to let other people that didn't have the money to buy the full edition pick some of it up, right? Anyways, so here we are, April 25th. This gets released, update, blah, blah, blah. They go on this whole, it's not DLC. People start calling them out on it, rightfully so. Then they start like burning down and saying dumb things about other games. They get community noted. We come to this first post here, which is the update. And this is from Train Fender, who is Nikita, okay? And this is the first like true response in trying to damage control this thing. This is specific to the owners of VOD version, talking about their importance, even though there was a now deleted, unreleased, unvetted emissary conversation interview with Nikita that basically just kind of says that this is all BS. They're going to add all these additions to EOD: fast return of items, personal trader limits, PMC karma, hideout craft, charisma skill, special quest line for the pockets, ability script to legacy device, and then high priority matchmaking EOD owners and offline PvE EOD owners for 6 months. We'll provide these changes and additions as fast as possible. Temporary access to PvE will be provided as soon as we will reinforce the server infrastructure of that particular game mode for a wider audience, because it's different servers and there's a limited amount of them. So first of all, I talked about this, I think, in the last video. Nobody wanted any of this. Nobody wants any of this. If you want to give these things, again, just as like a thank you at some point, fine, right? Fine. I will gladly take a quest line to do the pocket size thing. I'd be cool with that. You want to do that for me? Great, as an EOD owner. I don't care. I don't care. If I wanted that, I would see the value in this, and I would purchase the new edition. If I wanted a cool legacy device, or an armband, or set of closing, or any of that stuff, I'd purchase the new thing. If you want to do it later as a thank you, not expecting anything in return, fine, right? All of this right here is just, hey, we're going to throw some stuff at you so you feel like we actually care about this part up here. Okay. This then just absolutely gets them torn apart even more because of this limited access to these things, which is literally what people are saying, right? No one is arguing about all of this crap, right? Because you have your stuff as part of EOD. I don't really look at this stuff as even being DLC. These are just additional bonus rewards for your edition. So we have that. Then, that was on April 26th. Then we get to, essentially this morning, 18 hours ago, we get this. He's back. Let me clarify. They quadruple down on this not being DLC. What? Fine. Again, we can sit here and argue. I don't think it's an argument. If you want to make the argument that it's not DLC, the PvE mode, fine. Then again, make it a separate purchase. Make it reasonable. Make it $15 freaking because you need servers or whatever, which so many people have responded to. It's like, I'll talk about that in a second. Secondly, functionality is necessarily on separate network infrastructure. They can't do this right now. That's why you didn't get it. They can't do it. This is Arena all over again. They didn't want to give Arena access to all these EOD account holders, which arguably is less DLC. It's a totally different game, right? Now that's a separate conversation about things that they had said previously. They don't want to do this right now because they can't. Because they don't want to spend the money to get the servers. Then why would you release it in the first place? I'm like mind boggled. It's almost like you're saying, here, we're going to lock this behind this $250 paywall, which we know very few people coming into the game are going to buy. Very, very few. And you're going to have a very small fraction of the community upgrade their edition, right? Probably within reason for them to not make any major infrastructure changes for servers, just to put this edition out there and get some extra cash. I don't know how that's not the play, because they just said they can't do it. So why would you release it? If you wanted to release it, put it as DLC. Tell people, hey, this is on its way. We're bolstering the infrastructure, and you'll get it later. And it's going to be $10. And they would have, by doing that, by just putting that out there and saying, hey, this is something we are excited about doing. It's going to take some back end support. Here's the pricing model, or here's the edition. To be determined when it'll release. Fine. So here's what they're doing. We observe your dissatisfaction at thinking that DLC isn't DLC. Okay. So they're going to give it free to all the owners of VOD. So we got what we wanted. All right. That's a very, very small cup of water in this on this burning building. And they're going to give it to us, though, on release is what's happening. At the release of the game. So that could be 6 months from now, or that could be 2 years from now. But EOD owners will have the PvE mode on release because they're going to, granted, at release, they're probably going to do a big PR push. They're going to get a lot of servers. They're going to do all that stuff. Fine. Now you have the opportunity to test this mode by purchasing the Unheard edition of the game or upgrade to this version. We also get a 50% discount if you upgrade. Now, here's the thing. That makes it like $50 and some change. 47 euros or something like that. That's more reasonable. That is way more reasonable as an extra tack on. If it would have started here, people would have still complained. But I would have been a little bit more behind it. But this is too late. Also, they're going to send one free Left Behind Edition key to everyone who has already upgraded. I'm sorry. Why? They don't want to do the refunds. They need the cash. Giving out free game editions that don't end up even maybe getting used. Like, come on, guys. They don't want to do the refunds because that costs them money. If it went through credit cards and all that other stuff, processing that stuff, it costs them money. They don't want to do it. That's why they're doing this. If you bought the Unheard edition, you're probably still... I'm still a big fan of this game, right? I am just now very much not a fan of BSG. I have always tried to be positive about the changes, understand the testing, and them trying to mold the game to what they think it needs to be, and trying to see their vision. And just this whole thing has just been so scummy. But like, who is supporting this game and gonna be like, go to their friends and be like, hey, here's this edition of this game. This feels terrible to me. In order for people to have the ability to test PvE mode, they're going to add it as a separate purchase. Early access. EOD owners will be a 70% discount to get access to it. So if you want early access to it, you're going to pay 30% of what it's going to be so that you can try it out early instead of waiting for release. Here's the other funny thought. I've seen a few comments, videos. Some people have picked it up and have said that it is not good. It's just not good. The AI for players is essentially rogue AI. So they didn't even do anything unique there, right? I didn't expect any crazy changes with scavs or anything like that. The bosses, none of that stuff. You would think they would have put some time and effort into player AI, right? PMC AI, if you will, to make it unique. Apparently the PMCs spawn like in the same spots. There's 10 to 15 minute matching times because the server infrastructure sucks and they don't want to do anything. I don't even want the mode. I don't even want the mode. I am going to be trying out, most likely, single player Tarkov. Giving it a go. Clean just streamed it. A lot of positive reactions. I've seen this around. Haven't really dabbled in it. And I think now's the time. I think now's the time. It's cool that we're going to sort of get this eventually, right? We're going to get some of these other bonuses, which, again, people don't want. They talked about special items and restrictive or balancing changes to these. The problem with this is there's so little communication, we don't even know, right? They're not even answering the questions from the community around this, which just shows you it's just a masterclass of being tone deaf. I don't know how else to respond to this. If you would just review the feedback and say, okay, we need to answer the questions. We're sticking by our stance that this PvE game mode is not DLC. We're giving it to you anyways. In some way, that is them, taking the step back. It was 2 days farther than it should have been. They're going to release it so that you can purchase it separately, which again was one of the other major things to say. The Unheard Edition can still stay in the game, but now we're talking about balancing changes because so much of the other feedback has been like, how are all these things not pay to win? How are some of these features not pay to win? Some of them are. Some of them are wild. If they are implemented at the simplest version that we understand them, I just don't understand. But they're going to do balancing changes on things that we don't even know. This is just wild to me. This whole thing has just been wild to me. I saw Pastilli's video, kind of going over some things and talking about this. And, it's one of those things. It's hard not to get caught up in the drama of this. It really is. It is just the community sentiment is so, for once, community sentiment feels like it's pretty well on point. Again, if they want to do some of these things and they want to change kind of the flow of the game and have some of this stuff, some of the things could be cool. They could be unique. They could be interesting. They could also be really good for just the PvE mode, right? Being able to call your friends in, have them come help you is a really cool idea in PvE mode. That's really neat. And they could probably implement it. In the base game, seems a lot harder. I just don't think it's going to work personally. But like the pockets thing and some of the extra gear and all that crap, the gamma container, fine, right? It's been in the game. They've been in the game for so long. Just deal with it, right? But that's not what's getting people in an uproar. If Unheard Edition was just some extra gear and a few skill levels and a little extra bump and a cool, set of clothing and armband and the knife or whatever, fine. Totally fine. PvE mode, hey, EOD, here's it for $10. Everybody else, it's $20. People would have still been upset, but probably just grumbled and moved on instead of literally burning. They're just burning the fucking house down. I don't understand. It's wild to me. It's a step in the right direction, but it's not even. I still think they're missing the point. I really do. And the thing I can't get past is they are not capable of doing it. This is Arena and the waves all over again. Now, granted, it was more acceptable for that because that was a brand new game. I think part of where this comes from is they caved on the Arena piece. That cost them a ton of money. That game has not been as successful as they thought it would be. Because again, just like in Tarkov, they didn't actually listen to the player feedback, probably initially. So it came out, people played it. I think I've put a total of like, if I've put 10 hours into it, I'd be very surprised. It wasn't balanced. It wasn't fully ready. That, for all intents and purposes, is still a beta. That's the other thing that is really just like blowing people's minds. This game's been in beta for 7-8 years at this point, and it's not even released yet. And a lot of people, and I agree with them, this PvE mode, there would be no better way to bring new players into the game than that, right? They've actually been focused on bringing new players into the game and making it more accessible. They've got this field guide. Like, they're trying to do that because they recognize it has to be accessible for players. It can still be hard. You don't have to change the core functionality of the game. You have to make it accessible. How more accessible would it be as if you invited some friends They bought the standard edition of the game, and it came with PvE mode. We said, hey, let's jump into a few offline raids. Let's get you going. It's got AI. It's got, you know, these AI players, right? You can go have some success, get a little bit of experience on your belt. They could play it on their own, still get some progression so they could work through some of the tasks without just getting absolutely pub stomped on before they jump into the game. And then they can get into some regular raids and they can go forward. They're still going to get smoked. They're still going to get stomped on, but they'd have a little bit more of a fighting chance. The fact that this wasn't even considered and we're doubling down on it not being DLC is just pretty wild to me. So let me know what your comments, thoughts down below. Small step forward. Glass of water on a burning house is kind of the analogy that I'm going with here. I have one other thing. I have one other. This is conspiracy theory stuff here. It's not really. I was gonna try to sell this as being as being legitimate, but I can't. In right conscious, I can't. What I do think is really funny is if you come over to YouTube and you hit up X, Twitter a little bit, this is getting a ton of coverage because it's in large part because it's so crazy, right? Because it's so bad, it is getting so much media coverage. You've got Asmongold, you've got Noise Guy taking Tark out of his name, which is like, that's just on the nose. One Peg's back. One Peg, I got, dude. I don't always agree with One Peg. I do think it is really funny that we're just here. Look at this, just getting those views and all these videos. It's crazy. And he talks about it. 21% click-through rate is wild. You got all these people talking about it. You got streamers. I was going to make the joke. I can't do in right conscious. I can't. I was going to make the joke that maybe they're doing all of this because it's late wipe. We're still 2 months away. Game's kind of dying out a little bit. It's cooled off from the wipe. This most recent patch, if they would have just done the patch without this edition, would have been received well, would have got a little bit of coverage. People would have been talking about it, but probably wasn't bringing back a ton of people to the game, to be honest with you. If you were still grinding it, you would have enjoyed it, but probably not. There wasn't enough there. So maybe this was like a ploy to get all these YouTubers and content creators some extra views without doing, you know, Twitch drops again. But I can't. That is a joke. That's a pure joke. I appreciate all these people covering it and the opinions. I think it needs to be talked about, and I think they need the press. They say no press is bad press, right? I don't think that's true in this instance. This is not making people want to come in and to buy the game, but they have still an opportunity, I think, to fix it. We're taking some small steps. This is going to blow over at some point. Some of the things they're doing here is okay. I just take some more community feedback, BSG. Like, just really put some more cosmetics up. Keep the edition up if you want to. Find this PvE thing, give it to us. Get the freaking server infrastructure up, like, to support this. Fix the game, get it to 1.0, and like, let's go from there. You know what I mean? It's just nobody trusts them anymore, and I don't think you should. That's my stance. That's where I'm at this point, as of the creation of this video and as of the latest updates that we have. So I hopefully you enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts down below. Let me know if you're ever going to play Tarkov ever again, and let me know if this satiates you or if it just infuriates you more. And yeah, love to hear you down below. I'm Doc. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace.